So
Yeah.
YouTube is live.
Facebook's live now. Let me have a look on the.
Just wait for a few people to come on.
Not there. Oh, that's why. I didn't even have my pillow behind.
Mm. So So we're just waiting just a little bit to let a few people catch up and get on, and then we'll talk a bit. We won't wait too long though. But greetings to everyone who's here already. Alison, Maria.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other person is.
No, neither.
Anonymous. YouTube today is showing no one. For a change.
Yeah, usually there's that one. Hi, Alison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually there's that one person.
There's that one who's monitoring
us, yeah.
Looks so. I don't know why it always looks grainy. That's
I know
weird.
it's weird, isn't it?
And this is supposed to be a high quality camera.
Yeah.
I think when you watch it back, it's all right, but
I think they do. They make it. I don't know why they make it look like that.
I'm gonna have to be reading from my thing quite a bit.
Your phone.
Yeah, because I've got like 4 different things that I'd opened with the bits about the immigration.
Yeah, I've got a few things as well. I've got a few pages, and then I've got my notes as well that I've done some in there, but
all right. Well, anyway, we're over the time anyway, and whoever's supposed to come, and whoever's not coming, do your thing. Because we're not going to stay here forever anyway. We'll stay here, and then when we're ready to leave, we'll leave.
Yeah.
So, big up to Barbados, first of all, for getting rid of QE2.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that they've done that. And what do I mean if people don't understand me? Barbados have left the Commonwealth, and they have now become a republic. Jamaica should have done that long time, and them now go on with nothing. So Jamaica, we're waiting on you. It's your turn next. Leave the Commonwealth and become a republic.
For real.
And tell Elizabeth to go about her business.
You don't need them anymore.
You don't need them for anything because they're not giving you any benefit. So you're staying there to do exactly what I don't know.
Yeah.
So big up to Barbados for doing that. They're taking the first step. They were one of the islands that had the most English slaves on anyway. And they had Irish slaves there as well, by the way, in case people didn't know. They didn't call them slaves. They called the Irish people because they were mostly white-ish. And I say white-ish because in those days they weren't exactly as white as what they are now. But I'm not going into that. If you don't know what I mean and you don't get it, go do your research and see who the original Irish people were. So when they sent Irish people there as the overseers, they were indentured servants. So they're still slaves.
Yeah.
That's what they sent them there as. And and for anybody who didn't understand that they didn't think anything better of them, just because they might have been a bit closer in color to them or the same color. Years later, when they were supposedly inviting people into the UK, they had the signs up: no blacks, no dogs, no Irish.
Mm-hmm.
So they even used to even be trying to put the Irish bit after the dogs.
Yeah.
You know, but they classified them all the same. That they didn't want them either. As in, we're not giving you accommodation. Come and work, but you should live on the street, or live wherever you live, but not with us. And that's really where the immigration issues, you know, that we could go back further. We'll probably start from that era, when they actually began to invite people to come here, which was after the World War. So the 50s. You know, 1939 to 1945 was World War II. And by the 1950s, Britain was mash up.
Yeah.
Right? And it needed rebuilding. It needed rebuilding physically. It needed rebuilding in terms of workers. And so they wanted to invite people from the Caribbean, from Ireland, because they were the mother of these places. So they're you know, the UK, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, as Elizabeth likes to call it. Your queen, not mine. They were supposedly the motherland, right? So they invited people from the Caribbean, all the Caribbean islands, Jamaica being the largest English-speaking Caribbean island. And they invited people from Ireland. Hi, Gerald.
Hello.
And they invited people from Ireland. And there were Irish people in the Caribbean as well, as I said before. Mm-hmm. So they were inviting those people to come and work in the motherland, as they called it. So people were okay for them to come to work because they were ostensibly wanting them to do jobs that they did not want to do. Mm-hmm. So they wanted them to work. They didn't want them to come for education. Excuse me. They didn't want them to come for education. They didn't want them to come per se for a better life, although some people would purport to say that having come to Britain from the Caribbean, West Indies, whichever you want to call it, they've had a better life, or they've had better opportunities. And I won't deny that to an extent either. And we'll talk a little bit about some of that. But again, if we were to get too far into that conversation, which is a whole story in itself, you're having a better life in a better economy, but what built the economy? Where did they steal from to build their economy?
Exactly.
Right? Including people. Because remember, you're talking about people who either were stolen from Africa and transported to the West Indies as slaves. And when they went there, their lives were no longer their own until the day they died. Yeah. You're also talking about people who willingly went there before them, not as slaves, but allegedly to build the new world, being the West Indies, the Caribbean, and the Indies in general, and also Southern America, which initially the Spanish and Portuguese had large proportions of, and then the English, or British as they like to be called, came in and took over quite a lot. And so there were people who came there, people of color who looked just this color like me and like her, who went there from Spain and from Portugal to go and work on the land, to build the country, to build the land, to develop it. And they then turned some of them into slaves.
Yep.
They turned some of them into overseers. So the ones who had maybe a lighter skin or had maybe a bit more language skills that suited the so-called overlords, they used them as the overseers. Yeah. Right? So that's where we were coming from way back, in terms of history. They then invited people, let's talk now about Britain, to come to Britain to work. The same bloodline of people. Yeah. Where you now are coming to the motherland, the country that has more than what you have, because you've stolen from everywhere, including stealing people.
Yep.
Not just commodities, but also people.
Yeah.
Using them to your advantage and gaining from them financially. And then now wanting them then to again come into Britain, who had already gained financially from the West Indies, from the sugar plantations and so forth.
Yeah.
And bring them then to work here to build up this country. So when they came here under that basis of immigration, some people did some very stupid things, unfortunately. There were people who came from the West Indies and came here, and many from Jamaica especially, who came here believing that they were already British. Because prior to 1962, when Jamaica got their independence, they were British per se. So they were saying that these are British people, you know? And when they came as a British person into this country, some of them came with the passport of where they came from and didn't do anything. So they've come in with, you know, Trinidadian passport, Jamaican passport, Bajan passport, etc. They've come to what they believe is the motherland. So they believe they've come here. And unfortunately, this is, you know, lack of understanding, lack of education in some cases, and also lack of information, because they also did not want to inform people of what was and what wasn't. Yeah. They didn't want to tell them about their specific rights and responsibilities.
Yeah.
So they've come in thinking, oh, we just come to work, and I'm British anyway, because, you know, my island is British. Not considering that when you've got independence, well, your island is now independent, and that's where you came from. So you're now technically no longer British, even though you were born in that sense as a British subject, because by the time you will have been born, and when it was still under the rulership of the British, you're British, but accordingly you weren't, because what they're trying to tell you initially anyway is that British has nothing to do with your color. We know it's gone further than that now, but when this began, it was to do with color.
100%.
100% to do with color.
So anybody who was brown, no, you're not British, you're whatever.
That's where it began from. I'm going deeper, but that's, you know, read Gerald's comment for me, please.
Gerald's comment is directly in correlation to what you just said. It says, when I was born, I was British. Then in 1962, we got independence. I became a Trinidadian. I came to the UK in 1970 and it was a culture shock. But like most West Indians, we integrated. Now moved 50 years later, I have friends who were there before me, having to find papers that their mother and father probably lost, having to prove their rights.
That's right. Yeah. Prove their rights to stay in the UK.
Yeah.
That's right, Gerald.
They've grown up.
That's right, Gerald. And this is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about, firstly, we're talking about some people who, okay, maybe physically were not born in the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Right. Now, let's specify what we mean when we say the United Kingdom of Great Britain as it is now. When we talk about it as it is now, we're talking about England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, Northern Ireland anyway.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we mean by the United Kingdom of Great Britain. But before that, prior to that time, before independence came to many West Indian islands, it would have included them as well, which they've now called the Commonwealth, which is many of the West Indian islands, Australia, and some other places. So they were all British, right? But all of a sudden, they are no longer, and they begin then to draw this line of demarcation. However, as I was saying, some of this is down to the people, because they should have also known there's some things that they need to do to secure for themselves and for their children.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to talk about that first. Then we're going to come up to date where we are now with what they're proposing. And you know, when the government says proposing, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
And of course, why I'm saying it's coming is at the moment we're talking about the immigration. I think it's called the Nationality and Borders Bill or something similar to that. Well, it's going to be law next year. It's in its. I think it's past its third reading already in Parliament, so it's going to be law next year. You know.
Definitely.
You know, it's going to happen without a doubt.
Hmm. Of course, they don't relook or revise anything unless it's because they're trying to make everybody agree.
So we you know what Gerald has put there is one of the problems that has arisen. You know that what they like what they use the Windrush era. Those who came in that era, which the Windrush was one of the first ships. Um, and there's many that came on that ship, and many who came on the one that came after. I think my dad came on the one that came straight after Windrush. Um, now here's the thing: that many of those people they came here thinking that they were still British. Was a problem right from then. As a matter of fact, which some of you, well, maybe everybody doesn't know, my first passport was a Jamaican passport. I still have it. And if my dad had not later gone and got me a British passport, I bet by now
They would have been trying the thing. You already know.
I'd be having a problem.
Yep.
You know. So, but this is what I'm saying, that they made sure. My dad made sure he got himself a British passport. My mum made sure she got herself a British passport. They got British passport for all of the children. I need to apply for another Jamaican passport, actually.
Then I can get one.
That's right. Then my children can get, and then we can use them when we go to Africa.
Yeah.
Because then there's no need for a visa in many of those places.
Yeah.
So you know, and but anyway, that is another. We'll get to that. But that was our situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if Alison is still on here now or not. Alison was born in Canada.
Oh yeah.
To my sister Sarah or Bernie. So when Alison was born, Alison at that time classified as British because Canada belonged to Britain, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But the mother of the child, my sister, was classified as non-British. So she decided she wanted to come to the UK. This would have been about 1976. Yeah. About that, 76, 75. When it was nasty here. Immigration, skinheads, National Front, all them things were big. Right? And even the people in Parliament were National Front. You know? And if you don't know what National Front is, go Google it and it will tell you a lot of things. They're racist anyway.
Yeah.
English version of the Ku Klux Klan, if you ask me. Yes, please read it.
Gerald said, your original passport would be stamped given leave to enter the UK for an indefinite period. Now that indefinite is where they can expel you if you commit certain crimes. 100%.
That's right. And that's where we're coming to, Gerald. And also because people, unfortunately, didn't do what they were supposed to do, in that they should have, if they had that passport, they should have switched it and got a British one when they could get it easy. Because now, you're in a different ball game now.
Born here,
because even people who have been born in this country, they're deported.
Yeah.
Back to Jamaica and places, and they know nothing. Where are they going? What do they even know? Or even people who came here as babies, you're deporting them and sending them where? This is their home.
Yes.
because home is where you live and where you grow up and where you make it. But they say, no, it's not your home. It's not your home. But here's a funny thing. The same people, you know, I'm trying my best not, and I will do my best not to get too emotive or emotional in all of this.
Yeah.
But the same British people who are saying that have gone everywhere, wherever they felt like, around the world and made it home and said it's their home and taken over in their own style.
Enjoying.
And we're talking West Indies, we're talking Australia, we're talking Pacific Islands, we're talking India, we're talking Africa, and they've taken over and it's home.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. So my sister came here with her child, Alison. Alison was born in Canada. So here the stupid idiots, then, this is the 75, 76, something like that. They've said to her, the child who's a baby can enter the UK, right? And they're locking up my sister at gunpoint.
Disgusting.
They're locking up my sister at gunpoint. At that age, I was just small. I've never seen my dad cry before, and I've seen him cry. Both my mum and dad, I've seen them cry. Like, what's all the and I didn't, you know, big immigration with gunpoint. You're being locked up, the baby is free. Have you ever heard such nonsense?
Yeah.
Because you're a Jamaican and you're not allowed into the UK. And like I said, that was 75, 76 thereabout. That was my sister Sarah. She's still here. She has a British passport, by the way. But that was from then. You see, and the thing is that, okay, what they would have said in her case, we didn't invite you here. You came here because your parents were here, and you wanted to come here to be here with your mother and your stepfather.
Yeah.
We didn't tell you to come here. We invited them, but now also the problem that arose initially from back in the 50s was that some of those people who came with their own mindset that I'm going to the UK on a temporary basis. And I will make some money and go back home, or go back to where I came from when I've made enough money, or when I can establish myself in a certain way back there, thinking that they're coming to a place where the streets run with gold. And what they found, that when they came here, they couldn't get anything. First of all, some people struggled to get jobs because of the racism.
Yeah, of course.
Secondly, when they did get jobs, they got the worst paying jobs. They got the worst type of jobs. Some of them were in one job and out of another, in another one and out of another, because they're being fired constantly. You're not good enough. You're not doing the job right, blah, 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 etc. Your English is not understood. Your written English is not like ours, and all of these types of things. This is what was going on. You know, and this is all simply because they're saying we don't want you here.
Yeah.
But yet they've gone all around the world, imposed themselves in other people's countries and took over.
Yeah.
And nobody could tell them we don't want you or need you here.
Yeah.
Then they'll turn around and tell you, but we've come here and we're helping you because we're giving you good education, etc., etc. But actually they were not. Actually they were not.
No. They were just.
They were using it as an excuse to rape. And reap
pillage,
from those countries.
Kill. That's all they
wanted
to gain for themselves.
Exactly. So those people have come to work. They've worked. They've done, you name it, all the jobs that were going that everybody else, the indigenous white English people, did not want to do, and they carried on doing those same jobs for years. And this then now, you would think then, especially many of those Caribbeans who came in the 50s and 60s, they would have said, thank you very much. God bless you for what you've done in building up this country and working hard. You didn't come here and come to seek benefits. You all came and took jobs, and you worked hard in factories, driving buses, driving trains, etc., etc. You know, all the menial jobs that many of the white British did not want to do. And so, instead of them saying, well, okay, some of you didn't sort out your paperwork correctly, your immigration statuses, etc., they said, no, we're going to go home. It's not your home. So they may have been here 40, 50 years. Some even they're born here and had never gone anywhere. No, you need to go.
Yeah.
Then the issue that Gerald has brought up is the other side of the coin again. Some have committed crimes and they've used that as a basis. That came about. I'm going to read the statistics of it, of what the actual government have said. Came about a while ago that they saw in the law they decided to use a loophole to deport you. So they said, okay, you're not from here, go back where you came from. Some of those people are still asking the question, well, where did I come from?
Yeah.
According to you, where did I come from? And according to my understanding, now this is a problem in itself, in that some people don't know where they came from anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't even know where they would go because they don't know where they actually fit or who they are. What is my origin?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Very biblical thing. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, it belongs to God. It belongs to me. Whichever country I'm in, that's it. If that's where I should be trying to settle, I must have my reasoning also why I'm settling there.
Yeah.
But now the problem is that they then say, well, you don't belong here in the UK. And so we know initially it was all about trying to send out the people of color, which they politically call black.
Yeah.
It was about getting rid of the blacks. And you used to see that. Gerald will tell you, he knows, been around long enough, so he knows. In the 70s, you see it everywhere. Wogs out, niggers out. When they say out, they mean out. Get out of the country.
Go back.
Not just out of your job. They mean get out. You don't belong here. I remember there were youths who were being born here from the 50s, 50s, 60s, 70s. They're being born here. By the time you've reached the 70s, you're talking nearly 30 years on. But yet still, even by that time, the racism that existed in this country was absolutely rife. You know, National Front guys were marching through towns and cities in their boffer boots and whatever. And, you know, wogs out, niggers out, wogs out, niggers out. This was their songs that they were busy singing. You know, you don't belong here. And like, well, they don't belong here. Where do they belong then?
Yeah.
You see, but unfortunately, some of the families didn't do the part that they should have done in, you know, sorting out their paperwork when they came over, because they came to the motherland.
Yeah.
You know, so they were home.
They got deceived, and
you see,
too easily.
So, Tamar, go on with what you want to say.
There's a few comments. Well, these comments are long. Gerald has written another comment that says, I got dual nationality. I came back from France in Calais. I only had my Trinidad and Tobago passport, not my original. British, obviously. The immigration officer said I have no rights. This was back in 1998. So that's when I was born. I had my wife and children with me. So I decided to get naturalized and get a British passport to avoid any problems while traveling. Yeah, because they think they're slick. Yeah, they actually think they're slick. And Trevor has said here, the Europeans are not the real British. Yes, correct. Because before time, our people populated this landmass as the British.
Who's this now?
Trevor. As the Irish, Igbo-Hiberian, from the Iberian Peninsula to the island, to Hebrides, Scotland.
Yes.
Hebrides.
Yes, what they call the Hebrides.
Yeah, Hebrides.
Hebrides.
Yeah. King James, a black man, was a Stuart, a black family, like Windsors are white. This black family, British, included Mary Queen of Scots, Elizabeth I, James V, Charles I, and Charles II, called the Black Boy. This ended when Oliver Cromwell ethnically cleansed the UK and sent our people that they didn't kill to the Caribbean.
Mhm.
They now pretend the 50s is when we first came here.
That's
For
right.
real.
That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, he missed a bit of what I said at the start, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
But that's right. I was saying
Mhm.
that we'll talk from the 50s, but we know very well there's no way
Yeah.
that people of color, what they call politically black, and I use the term people of color because there's a spectrum,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of the skin color anyway. They did not come here in the 1950s.
Yeah. Rubbish.
You know, long before that.
Yep. It's already been proven anyway, Cheddar Man.
Mm.
And if you don't know who Cheddar Man is, then go and have a look.
Go and
'Cause
look.
I'm sure you'll be shocked. Yeah. The first settled person in the whole of the UK.
That's
mate.
right.
Yeah. And his skin was not white.
Is that all?
He said Cromwell was called a Puritan, not because of morals, but because he believed in purifying the country of blacks.
That's right. That's right.
It's just disgusting.
Cromwell wasn't a pure man.
No.
In terms of his philosophy of life. He was an evil man.
Yeah.
He was extremely feared. He was like a warlord. You know, yeah, we know. So here's the thing. Have you got something that you want to? Yeah, go on.
I've got some information about the detention centres, and
wait then. Let me come with another bit. Then we'll get up to that. Because because this may be in two parts. We may not finish it all today. Because where I want to go to move it a little bit forward.
Yeah.
In terms of immigration, because we don't want to just talk about us from the Caribbean and the West Indies. Our issue, anyway, we've talked a bit about some of it, and obviously, if people chip in, we'll jump on their comments as well.
Yeah.
The incarceration issue, we know that was something that they were very happy to do, and like I said, I'll return to that when I read some of what the government has had to say about that. But let's pick up one issue, and again, a lot of these people are people of color, by the way, right until today. Not all, but again, it's also what your understanding of people of color is. Sometimes classified as non-white. Yeah. All right. So
they're not black, but they're not white.
So it depends on what it is that you because they want to reclassify things, but as long as you know that they mean you are not English or British. So recently, 33 people, I believe it was, died while allegedly crossing the British Channel from France to the UK. So let's talk about that a little bit. And there were plenty of people in there who were politically black people of color, some from Afghanistan and wherever. But basically what they're saying, all of them were non-British people. So they said, they got this super dinghy, and they went into the channel, and on their way across, there's nothing that could be done, because anyway, number one, they shouldn't have been in the channel in the first place, and it sunk, and X amount of people died, and anyway, the dinghy was overloaded, and anyway, they shouldn't have been there. Who told them to be trying to cross like that? It's illegal to cross like that. Blah de blah de blah. Okay, all of that is kind of neither here nor there. Let's look a little deeper at reality, and we're talking about the compatriots of the British across the water, the French, who are just as evil, if not more so, than the British.
For real.
All right, and we don't, and we can, if you like, I'll talk about them in a separate live, all by themselves, and talk about all of Francophone Africa and the rubbish and nonsense that is still going on until today. That there are Francophone African countries who are paying France to keep them out of their country, so to speak,
Mhm.
and to just eke out an existence.
Yeah.
France is claiming massive money from them. You owe us. What do they owe France?
Yeah.
You owe us because you exist, and you
we
owe
won't
us
share.
because of the so-called infrastructure that we've put into your country. But yet, if you go to almost any French-speaking African country, the countries are awful.
Yep.
Absolutely awful.
All
Yes, we know
civil war and all
foundationally,
things.
Trevor. I'm just reading without glasses because
Oh
got
yeah,
the wrong one.
French, British, same people. No
Yeah,
difference.
foundationally, Trevor. Yes, I know they're the same people.
Yep.
Yes, yes, we know.
100%.
And imagine they're telling them, you francophone African countries must pay us. You see, they're telling them you must pay
All
us.
they've created is
You owe
turmoil.
us. Then what they do each time a strong man comes up in, like I said, I'll talk about this separately, but I've got to finish what I'm saying here now.
Yeah.
Every time a strong man comes up in one of those French-speaking African countries,
Yeah.
what they do, you'll find some of the time he'll be a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So this soldier will come up and he'll take over with military power.
Yeah.
And take over that francophone country. Then his wife will happen to be a French soldier. Interesting, that, isn't it? And white. He'll be a Congolese or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just using an example of a country, but wherever. And the wife will be a French white lady. And then otherwise, he, as the soldier, will assassinate the president, will become the new leader in situ, while the wife, who is French, white, will be leading him.
Yep.
So the French will still have their foot in there, or he will have been French special forces, but serving in an African country. And he will become the new leader, so that the French will still control the country. And each time, if even he becomes now a woke person, wakes up, you understand what I mean? He wakes up and says, hello, you guys need to leave us alone and let Africa run Africa. They will assassinate him. They will take him down. Or, maybe if they're trying to be nice, they'll try to get his wife to control him first.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, then he's gone. And they've been repeating this pattern across Francophone Africa for a long time. Like I said, maybe, we'll do a live and we'll talk about them all by themselves.
Yeah.
But don't fool yourselves as if to say they're nice.
It's disgusting. The comments.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, Trevor says, Priti Patel.
Yes, she.
Priti Patel is.
She's got the right name, doesn't she? She's not pretty at all.
No, you know what I mean. That's exactly what I said the first time I seen her. But let me not be rude. Priti Patel is not European, so this thing is likely to revisit her and her family. This is exactly what I was saying to my mum just a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
What rubbish. Do you know what I mean?
Her bloodline.
Yeah. She is a puppet for the spearhead. Useful today. Correct. She is 100% a puppet, because it does. How does it make logical sense that you would be accepting this deportation and immigration act
the way that it is?
The way that it is, yeah. And you yourself are not even classed as what they would call real British, as they call it. Even you yourself, your grandparents, they're going back to wherever you came from, yeah, because they weren't originally from here, and you think that's normal. How does that make sense? Then the next comment here is from Gerald. It says, I had a funny one. I came to the UK for Christmas in 2019, but travelled on my Trinidad and Tobago passport. I was with my wife, and we got to immigration/passport control. The guy looked at me, looked at his computer, and I'm sure it showed that I have a British passport. Of course it would. It would. He probably could not work out why I was traveling on my Trinidad and Tobago passport.
Because you can.
Yeah. He stamped 6 months stay. I wonder if I overstayed, if they would come and get me. Yeah. See what the rubbish.
You're right, Gerald.
They
What
thinking
pure
everybody-
foolishness.
What, we're all spies or something.
Pure
Or-
foolishness.
You know what I mean?
But it's not even that you're spies, because they're the ones who put their spies in Africa
Exactly.
and in the Caribbean until today.
Yeah.
Gerald knows because he's in the Caribbean now.
Mhm.
So he knows they still have their spies there.
Yeah. of
You know,
course they
or
do.
infiltrators, if you like. I'm loving the comments because
Yeah.
it's keeping a nice flow.
Mhm.
There's more after that, isn't there?
Trevor said buy or assassinate.
That's
talking
right,
about the
talking about the
Francophone.
francophone
Yeah.
countries, and that's
Mhm.
right. And they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And then Gerald has said something.
She is still taking on Idi Amin.
Yes, still
I think
talking or talking.
I don't-
Must be talking. Yeah.
Must be talking.
Yeah, they're talking about Priti Patel. She's a horrible person,
Awful.
you know.
Awful.
So let me quickly give my take on this thing that's happened.
Mm.
Oh, so these people jumped into this dinghy from France side.
Mm.
Now here's the interesting thing, because I don't watch a lot of these TV things, you know. I really don't bother with watching the news and stuff like that. I specifically pick what I want to watch.
You have to check.
And I can, because I have a brain, thank you very
Mhm.
much. And it's a very active one. So you can't tell me what I should or shouldn't watch.
Of course.
And you can't feed me news and
That's
expect me
false.
to believe only what you fed me and not to look a little deeper.
Mhm.
So I looked for a news program to find out what happened on the other side,
Yeah.
on the French side, before they got into the water and were murdered in the water.
Mm.
And why am I saying murdered? Because they were left to die there.
Yeah.
Right? So anybody that thinks it isn't murder, well, that's fine. That's your business. But it was murder. They were left to die in the water. So on the French side, and remember, I don't know, some people have not been to France, so they don't know, but I have, and I'm telling you. Okay, and you can use your common sense to think for yourself what it would be like.
Mm.
French immigration is extremely tough. Yeah, they're not soft. They're vicious.
Yeah.
And when they see people coming into France from wheresoever angle, and they're not French, they are tough with them. Very nasty. So you've got these people who have come from Afghanistan, Syria, wherever. Africans from North Africa and so forth come in because they want to reach to the UK.
Mhm.
We're going to talk a bit about why they want to reach to the UK in particular. And there's two angles to that, by the way.
Mm.
At least two, more than two even, but at least two good ones. Why do they want to come to the UK?
Yeah.
And why won't they stay in France? Well, one of the reasons, which probably even is a third reason then, why won't they stay in France? Because the French don't want them.
Yeah.
And the French make it very, very difficult for them to stay there.
Even enjoy-
Much more
yeah.
so than what they do in this Britain.
Mhm.
And that's what you've got to accept and understand. That's the truth. They make it very difficult
Yeah.
for them to stay there, to survive, because they're not giving them anything when they're there.
Mm.
So let's go from there. So now these people are there trundling along. We're going and we're going to get in a dinghy and we're going to go to the United Kingdom. So the French authorities are watching them make their way to the port, to the shore, and they're watching them jump into the dinghy. And they're doing nothing. And these are armed people. And they're just watching them, and suddenly they're blind. And suddenly they have no guns, no ammunition or anything in order to stop these people and take them back and detain them on that side. It's where you got to understand the reality, because what they're saying is, you get over there, drop dead in the water or get to the UK and be their problem.
Mhm.
Okay? That's the reality of it. They could have stopped them before they got into the channel.
Yep.
They did not want to. The British are trying to act, it wasn't our fault because they were coming from the French side and they got into the water on the French side, got as far as they could in the water and they dropped dead. We had nothing to do with it. Dirty, stinking liars.
You already know.
Plain and simple. Liars. Why am I saying that they're all liars? Let me read you some statistical information about the channel. Just so you understand what they could have done if they felt like it. But they're not interested because they wanted them to die in it. So we're talking about the Straits of Dover, as they call it. So listen to all this. The Straits of Dover is a vital maritime route in the Western European region, the narrowest part of the English Channel. So is what it does. It separates the English Channel from the North Sea. It separates, what's Trevor said? Get to the UK or die trying. Yeah, that's it. It separates the English Channel from the North Sea and a boundary between, and it acts as a boundary between Great Britain and France or continental Europe. Okay, so that's the statistical bit there. We don't need to talk about how big it is and stuff like that. But what you do need to understand is how it's governed, because this is very, very important, right? To understand how it is governed, to show you that it's not a joke. What happened was planned and very absolutely deliberate. It is considered the busiest maritime route in the world. Let me repeat that again with my glasses off so you can hear me better. It is considered the busiest maritime route in the world. Okay? Busiest in the world.
And they're trying to say
so they were there in isolation in the busiest waters in the world. It comes out the back of bulls and it smells. All right. So they said it's the mainstay of European shipping. So statistically, 400 ships come through there every day. 400 ships per day. But they were isolated and they just died because we couldn't do anything. Liars.
Lies.
You left them in there today to die. Today. Right? So, and then it goes on about what different types of vessels go through there, blah, 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 blah. It is a major transportation link between the two countries, meaning France and Britain, of course. Yeah, I'm coming to that, Trevor. Cool up yourself, Naya. I'm reading all of it.
He knows, mate.
Right? So safety in that water has become a critical issue in these times. The significance of it cannot be emphasized enough. My God, they are evil.
So evil.
So here are the protocols. Being as it is the busiest international seaway in the world, several important and noteworthy regulations have been established. Due to its narrowness, the Strait had witnessed various accidents earlier in times gone when they didn't have regulations. So we have the collision regulations of 1960. The Straits come under full radar surveillance. If you don't understand that, go Google it. Yeah. But it means basically, to put it in good, easy minds vernacular, nothing can't be in those waters that can't be seen, whether it is on or below the water. Full radar surveillance. All right? They have a traffic separation scheme with which 2 lanes run through the strait for inward and outbound traffic in order to avoid collisions. And that's been since 1967. So the new law, which was amended in 72, gives even more strict navigation rules to prevent collisions in the water. In addition, the Channel Navigation Information Service runs for the fulfillment of those objectives and helps in the supervising of traffic crossing the strait by way of a full day, round the clock radar system surveying and radio channel feasibility. Jointly operated by the United Kingdom of Great Britain and France. It is assigned to keep the Dover Strait under observation in addition to monitoring the flow of traffic in the case of any ship, any vessel not following the stipulated guidelines. The Channel Navigation Information Service is also authorized to report the lapse and take any measures required as a set-off. I mean, God of heaven, I don't need to even go further. Right? That's enough to tell you that they deliberately, negligently overlooked the dinghy with those people on it and said, die.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
They won't make it anyway, so just leave them. That's exactly what they said.
Right? It is a mandatory reporting zone. So anything that's found or seen there must be reported on. You must provide all details of any vessel which is seen. I just,
and I just so happened to miss that one.
And that's enough. I don't need to even say more.
No.
You know, that I've made my point. The people, they're wicked.
They're wicked. They're liars, and they're disgusting, and they let them die on purpose because in their head, they're a problem anyway because they're immigrants. And just leave them to do them.
What's he said now? I've got a whole heap more, but
it means they are fine. It means they fine or even destroy any ship/person found there and in the wrong place.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, in the case of the dinghy, they didn't need to bother to destroy it. They just left them to destroy themselves.
Yeah, because they would have already calculated. They're not going to make it to the UK anyway. So leave them. Don't even bother to waste our time and our resources.
That's right.
They can just do their own thing.
Yeah, let them drop dead.
Yeah.
And then they're going to start singing the song, which you're going to see. I'm going to read some of what the government has said here in a minute now. They're going to start singing the song and telling you, oh, by the way, you know, these people who are there, we have them there the way that they are because... you know, we're protecting their human rights and all of this type of thing. How are you protecting anybody's human rights by leaving them to die?
Yeah. How does that make any
Because
sense?
what they'll tell you is, well, we didn't send them into the Straits of Dover. We didn't send them in a dinghy, and we didn't send them to try to cross from France to the UK. So if they died in there, that's their problem because they shouldn't be there. Now that all sounds good and it sounds okay, but it's evil.
Of course it's evil. And what's the alternative instead?
Trevor, I can't quite read it properly.
Let's see. Trevor said, nah, they probably assisted with a couple of big waves.
Yes, Trevor, I believe so. You know, it wasn't coincidental.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what, and we know, because after reading all those things that I did, that they have protocols in place that if you're found there and you're not supposed to be there, basically they can mash you up.
Yeah.
Well, then you already know they're going to mash you up because you shouldn't be there. You know, whatever that means, it means what it says. Any means necessary.
And that's exactly what stuck out to me.
And so that any means necessary.
Yeah.
That's what it said.
So that means
and they've made sure
save ourselves some.
That's right.
You know,
they've worded it like that deliberately.
Yep. They never word things. They always word things deliberately.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, as I said, we'll see that this probably will end up being 2 parts.
That's what I'm thinking.
You know, and if it is, that's fine. We'll come back next week with the rest because you know,
it's like an hour now.
Because we're already on an hour and I haven't gotten anywhere. You know, and I'm probably going to do about an hour and a half, and then we'll see. So we'll come back probably next week with the rest because it is deep.
Yeah,
and there's a lot, and we're going to talk about it whether they like it or not. Whoever hears us, praise God.
Yeah.
You know, but it needs to be said. And, you know, even if it's 1 or 2 people that glean something out of it, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we can't keep forever burying our heads in the sand. It just, it's not. It's just not
Meanwhile, they're out there killing people,
murdering them.
Murdering
Yeah,
them,
and just it's okay because now you see. Here's the thing. I don't want to get too far into this.
Speed up, brother, too slow.
No chance.
About speed up,
No chance about speed up. You're too slow. Shut up. There's too much to be said. Priti Patel. Right?
Something else.
You know what she represents.
I don't know why he's laying down like that.
She represents the Muslim community.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Right? Now, I'm not going to go too deep, except I'm going to say this. They know who they're using and they know why.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I don't know what other language to use for it, so I'm just going to say it how it is. Pardon my language if you feel offended by this, but the government is taking the piss.
Yep.
I'm sorry I can't put it another way because I can't think at the moment what that term is.
The
is
nicer
in-
one
in-
is
in-
mick.
Taking the mic. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's
there.
what they
Yeah,
said,
you
yeah.
know that one then,
Yeah.
right? And why am I saying that? Because
They are.
they put Priti Patel in that position, and
Mhm.
and those dirty, nasty racists are laughing their heads off.
Yeah.
Because they've pushed her forward. They've got the other little geezer there, Javid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're pushing them forward, and they're saying,
they are.
"You get out in the forefront, and we use you where we want."
Yep.
Because then we can get you to browbeat your own community and make them think that we're supporting you, but actually we're not.
Yeah.
All of you are the same to us anyway, right? You think that you're different, so you're a sellout.
Yeah.
And this has always been the issue from day one.
The sellouts.
If we go back, and I'm not going back to that conversation, but I'm just going to say, even from the days of the transatlantic slave trade,
Yep.
sell out,
Yep.
sell out.
Trevor said the government is highly discriminatory.
This is it.
Yep.
And this is the thing that because you've got the right person in there. Yeah, she is the right person for the
them.
government.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's right.
For them, mate.
She's the right person for the government.
Yeah. No one else.
So let me now read some of their rubbish. Because now we're going to go a little deeper. So this forward, and this was when the government were proposing what they were going to do. This is written by that gyal, Priti Patel.
Oh, that girl.
So here's what she begins saying. This is what the government said they are proposing to do, and this is what they're doing.
Gerald said her family left Uganda and she is still toting feelings about
Yeah.
it.
Because they left during the time of, never even left. Idi Amin told them, stay there if you can. You already know. We know how it went. It was during his time. So we people nicely say they left. Well, they didn't leave. Idi Amin kicked them out.
They got pushed out.
And he told them, if you're a bad man, stay. And they weren't going to stay. What's he saying there?
Trevor said, we used to call them hatchet person/men, sell out for special project use.
That's right. Yeah, and they're always they've
on.
always been around.
Yeah,
and they will always be around.
Yeah,
and the thing is that they fool themselves into thinking that they're doing some good, and they're the ones who even are the overseers.
Yeah,
wielding the whip.
Yeah, thinking they should be telling us because they are higher than us. Yeah, still till now. And that's why she sits there talking her rubbish.
Lay down. Nobody's talking to you. I'm talking to my dog because he's here in the room and thinks for some reason that I'm telling him to get up.
The whipping it.
Yeah.
Got him gassed up.
Yeah, that's what it was. Just lay down.
Trevor said he gave them a choice to stay or choose between Britain or Uganda.
That's right.
And so they made their choice, isn't it?
And of course, because Trevor, almost many things we can divert for long. But you see, that was exactly it. Because although we know Idi Amin, demon-possessed man in his own right, but listen, let me say something plainly and truthfully here. We're very quick, happy, and easy for us to jump up and say Idi Amin was demon-possessed. Robert Mugabe was demon-possessed. They may well have been, but then so was Prince Philip. So is Elizabeth. So is Charles. So are many of the others who are in Europe and so on and so forth. Right?
Trevor.
So did I say Trevor? Sorry, Trevor. No, it's you who said it. You read it and said
Trevor, I meant Gerald.
Gerald, sorry. She said it. Anyway, I know because Gerald was talking about them before.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yes. Don't blame me. But yeah, because they were sitting in Uganda and supporting the British interest.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Get British or get Ugandan.
So if you want to be British, go to your country then. Because you're always busy telling other people, get back to your country.
Yeah.
So you get back to yours. Do you understand me? And there's the thing, that leader was demon-possessed and that leader was demon-possessed. So what do you think those white ones are then?
Yeah.
What do you think Dirty Bill Gates is?
Yeah.
You think he's a nice man?
Joe Biden.
Right? You think he's a nice man? Joe Biden sniffing out people's
Barack
picnic.
Obama.
I would like him to sniff one of my children if I don't Barack off his nose. But he's there sniffing out their hair.
That's how you know that them parents
dirty, nasty paedophile.
The
them people are all part of the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, them and their dirty satanic crew.
Yeah. That's why they allow it. Allowing their children to be molested and abused.
But they're very happy to point out certain people and not others.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, dictator Mugabe, blah, 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 because that's what they.
Because he's the first one.
Anybody who's from a different country and they're not following the rules of the British and the American dictator, put on the news everywhere, blah blah. Every bad move they make, they're spreading it. But what about all the things Barack Obama was doing and all the things that
they didn't
the
do
Queen was doing and all these things?
No,
that
count.
one's not put out there, is it?
Doesn't count.
That has to be kept quiet.
So we got to understand context.
Yeah, Gerald said whenever a black leader fights for the people, they demonize them.
Of course.
100%.
Gaddafi.
Yep. Every single one of them.
Just say his name. We don't even have to say anything more. Gaddafi. And who was the one who was involved in taking him out? Barack Obama. Mr. Coconut himself.
Yep.
So hear this girl now. The UK has a proud history of being open to the world. Lie number one. The UK has a proud history of raping the world and pushing their foot and their nose. Can it make some of them nose long like lizard? They are very, very good at pushing their nose into other people's country and into other people's business. Right? But Britain is good at be open to the world.
No.
Lie. Why is there a global Britain? There's a global Britain because they've gone and pushed themselves everywhere. You see, right from the start, whenever she starts talking, she has to come with her coconut business from the beginning. We recognize the contribution of those who have come to the UK lawfully and helped build our public services, businesses, culture, and communities, and we always will.
But then you're trying to say out.
Boom. Let me take that clause on its own. So we're talking about those people, my father and his generation, even some after that. But are they not the same people who they've been deporting?
Yeah.
Especially and Jamaicans. They've deported quite a few.
Yeah.
Go on, Tamer.
People's grannies and stuff.
They've deported them.
And their families are all here,
right? They have
Yeah.
deported them.
and they sent them off.
And who began all of this? Wooden top Theresa May.
hmm And the thing is, right, when I watched this documentary about immigration in the UK, it actually showed old videos, old adverts, sorry, of Theresa May. I'm talking like 2005, yeah, campaigning about immigration. And then she put out another one, 2010. if you're not from Britain, then you need to either confirm your stay
Or Gaia
or go
Yard.
home. Yeah. And we'll send you home. Which is all lies anyway, because they weren't sending anyone home. They're just banging them up in the detention centres. Let's see what Joe said here.
Is Trevor?
Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting them.
Because you're not wearing your glasses. Next time, get your glasses on, all right? Instead of being vain.
Gerald Trevor.
So I'm telling everybody, she's not wearing her glasses because she's vain.
I'm not
Get
vain.
your glasses on.
I don't know why I'm getting their names mixed up. It's because they're both called Trevor. Yeah, that's why she sent them back without their pensions, without their benefits and investments.
Right, and you see,
what rubbish.
Listen, my friend, I'm in agreement with you, and let's even say something on it, because it's one of the worst things that could have ever happened. There are people who have came here and they've done exactly what Coconut Priti Patel said they did.
Yeah.
They built the infrastructure of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into this country. They put their time, their energy, their effort, and their money into this country. To only being told, some of them, go home. Where is home even?
Yeah.
Go back where you came from, where where your granny them come from, or where your bloodline come from.
Yeah.
Go back. And when they went back, like Trevor said, they wouldn't even give them listen, pension is your own money.
Yeah.
They earned that money, which the government supposedly invested on their behalf, and then they won't give it to them. There are people even now who decided to go back to the Caribbean legally. They chose to go back, and they're still fighting sometimes to get their pension. They're telling them all kind of foolishness. Oh, you have to come back to Britain and go to so-and-so place to discuss and blah, blah, blah. Money that they worked for and earned and was supposedly invested by this lying teeth in British government.
Yep.
And we're still in the same boat because it's still another way that they can rape people and take their money away. You see? And that's what it's all about. Hey, Mark, go with the comments.
Right. So Gerald has said, the biggest thing at present is global warming and fossil fuels. The reason behind it is most of the fossil fuels come from developing countries and they cannot bomb them anymore. Yep. Then Trevor has replied to Gerald's comment saying, global warming means judgment of the Most High for end times. Yeah.
Both comments are correct.
Mm-hmm.
Both comments are correct because the lizard people are using it as an agenda.
Yeah.
The judgment, Trevor, yes, 100% is from the Most High.
Yeah.
But the lizard people are using it as their agenda.
Yeah.
Because
things.
There's, for instance, they'll talk to India, and they're asking the question to India, which India is now one of the world's superpowers in terms of size and finance.
Yeah.
And they're asking India, get rid of coal. And India told them, go about your business.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, of course. But, they said, move on, go ahead. Because at the end of the day, you made us dependent on coal.
Yeah.
You came and told us, blah, 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 do this, do that. Because we had our own style of doing whatever we were doing. Mm-hmm. And okay, India, I've got to use, because also, at the same time, the technology to change those things, you're trying to withhold it.
Yeah,
right,
and make it extremely expensive.
And then, if we even talk about that, you're trying to fool people by telling them, well, battery-powered cars are better. They aren't.
How does that make any sense?
And we know that they aren't, because what happens to the battery?
Yeah.
When that battery-powered car is finished running and the battery is no longer viable,
where are you putting it?
Where are you putting it?
You're burying it.
There's much more contamination that comes from that battery than will come from the diesel or the petrol.
Yeah. Something that is made naturally by the earth.
And for those who didn't know, and I know Trevor knows, and I know Gerald knows, but for anybody else who maybe who's on here now and others who will watch this, they like to penalize so-called developing countries when they export raw materials, for one, when they export food, for two. They like to penalize them and say, you are making a bigger carbon footprint because you're making those goods travel further. They're being flown for a longer distance. You're messing up the airways with these long flights with these goods on them. Who owns those goods? Who makes the profit from those goods? It's not the African people where they're coming from, but yet it's the African people who have to pay the penalty. It's charged to them, which is why they then pay the workers peanuts to do the work, because they charge it to them so that they say, oh, well, it comes through to the African country because that's where they come from. But yet it will be a British man or a French man or a USA man who is owning the rights to those things in Africa.
Trevor has said, are you sure about that? Batteries should be able to be recycled. Yes, I am sure about that, because every battery when it's a battery like that, it's a high powered battery. It's not like just the ones that you put in your remote or whatever. So that's going to carry a half-life, which means, and a half-life means what is it called? The radiation. It starts seeping radiation, which is why they have, when they say you need to recycle batteries in a certain way, that's the reason why. Because if you don't, they start seeping the radiation, which is obviously harmful to everybody on the planet. Hence why things that are extremely radioactive, they bury them in the sea. That's why I was talking about where they're going to be putting the car batteries. They're going to be putting them in the ocean underneath the floor. Gerald has said, just imagine a field that was used for food is now being used for solar panels, where a fossil fuel generator takes up a fraction of the space and cost.
That's right.
Well, this is the thing, because as well, they're perpetuating the thing of, oh, there's no oil in it, and obviously the oil is the same as the fossil fuels. Crude oil, I think it's called, isn't it? They're saying there's no crude oil left and we're going to be running out soon and all of this and blah, blah, blah. And then they also like to blame China as well, saying that China are obviously mashing up our world with their carbon footprint, etc., etc. But the thing is, right, look at how much stuff is made in China that we're using here, that they're bringing to the countries, even just to the UK. Think about it. Go look in your yard and look on the labels of some of your items, and what is it going to say? Made in China. If the UK was using all that power to make everything here themselves, their carbon footprint would be a lot higher than it is. But instead, what they're doing is trying to pretend and also save money, because that's all they care about, because they're cheap. Yeah. So they're putting it to other countries like India, Malaysia, all those countries, China, they're all the places, Thailand, etc., that are making our products for us, and then they're getting sent here. Barely anything is being made here. Even when there's factories, these factories are like more like they're not even like a manufacturing factory. They're more like a packaging factory. So the stuff is coming in, it's getting packaged and boxed up by people that work in the factory. But the items that have come in are not even made here in this country in the first place. And yet they want to be telling other countries about what they're doing in terms of using energy and what's good and what's not. How does that make any sense? Yeah.
What's that?
Gerald said there is plenty of oil. Guyana have found a massive reserve.
Oh yes, there's plenty. We know.
Yeah, here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have 1 trillion of cubic of gas. They don't like being at our mercy. 100%.
Of course, that's what it is.
That's why they want to chat this rubbish.
I was just about to say, because Trevor, was it? I think that said about the batteries.
Yes.
They're working on having them to be fully reusable.
I knew
So
they
so
weren't.
obviously
Yeah.
they haven't been. Most all batteries are not fully reusable so far. So what they're saying, I'm not going to get into too much detail on what I was just looking at,
Mhm.
but basically they're working on making them fully reusable. The capital for the world is Norway. They are the most electrified country in Europe and one of the most electrified in the world.
Sounds correct.
And by I can't remember what year it was, 2025 or something, which is not far. They expect to be the world leader.
Mm.
And it's interesting because this is part and parcel of what Gerald goes along with what Gerald just said.
Yeah.
Fossil fuel, they're finding that there's lots of it in countries where there's people of color.
Yeah.
See, me, I'm not a colorist, but I'm not going to pretend to not, so that I won't talk about it where it needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
And you can like it or lump it, it is what it is.
Yeah. They don't want to pay.
You people who did it, you did it, and you're not going to get away from what you did. Right? So, don't talk about color because, yes, I will. I will.
Gerald has said, I am in the present of going solar. It would take me 25 years for it to pay back.
Oh, yeah.
You see?
Yeah, they told us the same thing if we did it here, and obviously it's nicer to do it where Gerald
where
is.
There's lots of sun.
Where there's lots of sun. But the whole issue with all of this, again, is that even that one they don't like because you people who've got the sunshine are looking like what?
Exactly.
You're the ones that are the people of color. And this is the issue, and this is what they don't want. Read Trevor's comment. I already, without seeing it, I know what he's going to say. Yes, I know.
He said, the raw materials come from Africa. The components come from China. The assembly in Malaysia and Singapore or Africa. And the sales from Europe. They are reaping what they sowed. Yeah, for real.
That's right. And that's why I said they don't want to. They don't want to hear it.
They don't want to pay anybody in these because they know now.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it, Trevor.
Are not fools. You know what I mean? Especially those other countries now where they're making a lot of our goods. They ain't fooled by the British any longer. Yeah, so the British cannot go there and just yes, we want this oil and we're taking it. They'll be telling them get your money out then, mate. Where's the dollars? You know what I mean? And they don't want to pay.
They don't want.
Yeah.
and they don't want to lag behind in being in front in anything.
Yeah.
So that's why they're trying to change the goalposts always. And that's nothing new because in every single thing that you can think of, this is what they do.
Yep, they have their agenda set.
And if you're not strong enough, either as an individual or as a people, you'll come under that pressure and you'll succumb.
Yeah. Trevor said they wished we never learned to read. They wanted us ignorant.
Oh, yes.
Real. So they could continue what they were doing.
They could continue fooling
now.
people.
Yeah.
Just sign here.
Yeah.
Put a cross. Put your thumbprint.
We're doing good. We're being nice to you. We're going to help your country.
You see, and it's all going pear shaped for them, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not working out the way they thought that it would.
No.
Well, this is just the beginning. So I thought, let me refute Miss Coconut Pretty Patel with what she's saying there.
The little cow.
She's almost as bad as the rotten coconut Tony Sewell.
Oh, in it, man. She's coming just as bad as him.
And he's awful.
Yeah, he is.
So she said about the recognition, shut up, because it's a lie. She then says, we also take pride in fulfilling our moral responsibility to support refugees fleeing peril around the world. I'm not going to comment yet because I'm going to read, as we go further, we're going to read some of what they say their measures are, which will prove that it's a lie. Right? Since 2015, we have resettled almost 25,000 men, women, and children seeking refuge from cruel circumstances across the world, more than any other any other European company. In fact, probably what I said first was probably correct.
Correct, yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. these countries where there are cruel circumstances, I'm not going to say much. People who like to look supporting Asians, was it?
Supporting Asians fleeing, Africans and Caribbean excluded.
Yeah, it's coming like that, Trevor. And this is part of the issue. But this is the thing, that these so-called cruel countries with cruel circumstances, would they like to tell us who created the cruel circumstances in the first place?
Yeah.
And who made those countries to become the way that they are? So when people, because you see, this is why I said, if you wait long enough, you will be able to answer the question, why do so many of them want to come to the UK? Because this is retribution for what the UK has done, right? So they have created something, and you know, the Bible says you will sow to the wind and you will reap the whirlwind. All right. If you don't like the Bible, hard luck, because I love it.
You took and you stole,
you know,
and you killed and you did all those things.
That's right.
To create your little palace of a country here.
That's right.
And leave others in the dirt and bombing and all these horrible things going on. So yes,
and they are
coming here.
They're coming out
because they've had enough and they're thinking, nah, look how the UK are living.
You know, they're coming out. So now they've gone on about where they think they've done very good things and all of this. I'm not even going. I don't want to know. You know, we continue to play our part as the third highest contributor of overseas development aid in the world. Boom. Let me jump on that one for a second, because I think I must. I told you that this is two parts.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
no doubt. Overseas development aid, they are simply giving you back your own money.
Yeah, for real.
Right? It's your money.
Money that country has earned.
Every African country which is given development aid, it is your own money. In the case of the Francophone ones, they know it directly, because the Francophone ones tell you, pay us. And all of those that choose to pay, instead of telling them drop dead, which they should be telling them, when they pay them, they then loan them back their own money. And the British are doing the same in giving it out in foreign aid. We are giving you foreign aid. No, you're giving them back the money that you stole in taxes that you didn't pay, for the resources that you stole and continue to steal from those African countries. And you give them back a token of it in so-called foreign aid.
Yeah.
You're just giving them back their own money. You're not giving them anything anyway.
No.
Right? And this is what people have to understand. And if they don't think that I'm telling the truth, like I said, those of you who have time, who are scholars, go check it out.
Yeah,
I don't have time to go into that today, or even next week, by the way, because that's a little bit outside of our remit. But I'm just giving you that little bit of a snippet, that they're giving them back their own money.
Yeah, I already looked into this, actually, just on my own, on my own accord. I can't remember what brought me to it, but I was looking at something, and then I looked into I think it was Congo or something, and then that's when I found out about how they give them their money, but act like, oh, we're giving you a nice loan, but it's the money that they've already stolen. So you're loaning something that you took. How what the hell? What kind of rubbish? Yeah, and people are just there, oh, well, they're helping them, but they have to pretend to help them so that they can continue to drain their resources freely and easily. So if their people are not in that country pretending to give nice aid but barely giving any, then of course it's not going to be as easy to be draining off and stealing all the gold and the diamonds and whatever else is coming out of the countries. Yeah, so
exactly.
They already know what they're doing.
That's it. What's Trevor saying?
Trevor said, every war is a banker's war. They need slaves and they need new generic material, as long as it's not
genetic.
I think genetic, yeah. And they need new genetic material as long as it's not too dark.
100%. That's it. It's all everything that they do is contrived.
Yep.
We know. And those who don't know, well, you know,
People
sorry,
get
but
to know.
you know, so why immigration UK? Yes, it will be immigration UK
Yep.
because you know what you did, and now you know why they're coming here.
Yeah.
So, what's next? What she said here.
Pretty.
So she says, okay, the system needs to be fair, and it hasn't been. Okay, well, let's see what it is that you think that means to be fair.
Hey. Yeah, her own version.
So she says that they're introducing a new points-based immigration system. They will now decide who comes to our country based on the skills people have to offer, not where their passport is from. So, in other words, they're going back to where they began from in the first place. I'm going to say this, and I'm saying it because it's just the truth and absolute truth and nothing but the truth. When the British went in the 1600s and took over the West Indies, they needed workers. Well, the slave trade was already going on before that. But when they got in there and took over big time in the 1600s, the slave trade took on a whole new life because the British got excited because they needed slaves. So what were they doing? They were bringing people in based on their skills. Yeah, it doesn't sound very nice, but it's the truth. They're bringing in the black-skinned people, the dark-skinned people, right? Africans and others who could work hard. I say others. I don't want to get into it. Trevor knows what I mean. Some people they don't know what I mean because everybody didn't come from Africa who has dark skin, and I'm not going there again.
Yeah, that's a long
but just understand it. But they brought them in because of their physical strength.
Yep.
And they needed their skill set at the time. Then take yourself from 1650s and go all the way to the 1950s. 300 years later, the United Kingdom of Great Britain were once again looking at people for their skill set. Yes, because don't fool yourself that skill sets are always high skills.
No, it doesn't.
Right? It's not just that. They wanted cleaners. They wanted bus drivers. They wanted bus conductors. So they invited in the Caribbeans then because they wanted them to come and do those jobs
that nobody wanted.
That no British white people wanted to do. The British white people who were wrapping fish and chips in newspaper and licking their fingers to close the paper. And then expecting you to nyam the fish and chips out of the newspaper.
That could have even been under their foot.
Who didn't have a bath in their house, and they were going once a week to a communal bathhouse and all jumping in the same bath water together. I mean, you know, I could go on, but you know, I've not told any lies yet.
Nah.
And they invited Caribbeans again, looking at their skill set.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then now in 2021, 22, it will be when that law comes in. They're now looking at higher skill sets.
Yeah.
And now they're also looking at a higher skin color. Because they want to disclude the darker skin color. We don't want you. So we don't care, even if you are PhD, we don't want you.
Yeah, exactly, Trevor. They did.
Oh my Lord! But it's the truth. This is where it came from.
Yeah,
you know.
And now they just want the doctors and you know what I mean, those type of people. That's the only ones they're interested.
That's right.
In. Oh, if they've gone to school and they've done their things. Oh yes. We want the doctors. Why? Because lots and lots of the doctors are not from here.
And they want to exploit them.
Yep.
So, for instance, right now, all of this immigration stuff, which we're going to talk about more still, if you're a nurse, you can circumvent much of that because they want you at the moment.
Yeah.
They went through a phase and period where they decided we don't want any more.
Yeah.
We don't want any of these nurses of color. and now they're bringing them in wholesale.
Yeah.
You see,
Why? Because they need them again.
but then complaining that they don't speak good English.
Yeah, this is what they do. Oh,
And you know,
they're hard to understand.
I put something on somebody's racist post. This person had said, I went to London, and this was to do with the cricket thing, because that's the ongoing issue at the moment about the Yorkshire. Yorkshire cricket team has traditionally always been racist. Right? That's right where we are in Leeds, Headingley, just up the road. The Yorkshire cricket team has always been racist.
Trevor said, don't forget they need them to have the poison too, for real.
Oh, yeah.
You already know.
Yeah, of course, because if they come in and they're nursing, they've got to have the vaccine. Anyway. But actually, Trevor, they won't poison those ones because they'll keep them working. They'll give the poison to the other ones.
Yeah.
And make sure that the ones who are working for them will stay working. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, yeah.
You know? They keep them alive for their own use. So the thing is that this person had put on their post, and they said, "Oh, went to London." This is the former England cricket captain, and it looks like I'll have to learn a new language because there's too many foreign-speaking people here. This was on his Twitter.
Ugh.
So somebody had put underneath and said, "Well, what's wrong with him saying that? There's nothing bad about what he said." So I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, I live in Yorkshire." I said, "I live in Leeds." I said, "There are people here whose command," I said, "white British people," because that's who you're referring to.
Yeah.
Who are here, whose command of the so-called English language, which they claim as their language, is far worse than mine or many others. I said, I know many people from Africa who speak and write English far better than these Yorkshire people who claim that English is their first and only language.
Yeah. And all they know is ear, mate.
Yeah.
And
They don't speak properly.
No.
They neither speak nor write properly, but then they have the effrontery to be speaking about other people in a derogatory term that they can't speak or write good English. Compared to whom or compared to what?
Yeah. This is supposed to be your main language and you haven't even learned it correctly. You can't even read and write properly.
And remember, that's right. And remember, for some of us, if this happens to be our main language, it's because you stole any other language that we would have had.
Yeah. Okay, there's a few comments.
Go ahead.
So this was actually from before, and it's Trevor said, China is actually giving a better deal than the Europeans. The problem is the governments they give it to are greedy and mess up, so they claim assets in return.
That's right, and we're seeing that.
Yeah.
We're seeing that.
All over Africa. And
that is a whole thing that I'm coming to by itself.
That has to be a whole
the re-globalization of Africa.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that and alive all by itself. So I don't want to even comment because I'll be here till tomorrow.
Then Gerald has said, if Africa becomes united, they will be the richest in the world, but divide and rule. Yes, always.
Of course.
That's their main. That they are still operating on the same.
They pay people to divide themselves.
Yeah.
They pay them to be divided.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To create organizations and all the rest.
Go on.
Then Gerald first has said, did you see where more black pregnant women lose their babies in childbirth in the UK? Yes.
Yes.
We have the highest percentage.
That's right. And you know why some of that happens? It's an unfortunate thing that the whole thing, to be honest, Gerald and others, when it comes to the whole thing of hospital treatment, black people of color are treated far worse than the others.
Yeah, for real.
And what I mean by far worse, they will start doing procedures on people of color without pain relief.
Yeah.
They will give them less pain relief. They will take longer before they give any pain relief. These are not just suppositions. These are statistical facts.
Yeah.
And then when they may even be challenged at times, which is not often, Oh, well, they don't speak up. They didn't say anything. They didn't say that they needed. And we also assume that they're not feeling pain,
Why?
right? And what does this go back to? It goes back to the days of when this dirty, nasty American man first started doing experiments on black female slaves,
on the slaves.
gynecological experiments, and chopping up their parts with no anesthesia and no pain relief.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel pain because they're black, they're animals.
Yeah.
It began from there, and it hasn't actually moved that far.
No.
Because they do have this mindset. You didn't speak. Now, on the other hand, if you want to go to the reverse side of it, there are many people of color who will speak less and will speak up for themselves less than.
Yeah.
And maybe because we're hardcore anyway.
Yeah, for real though, because
right? But even if we are
as a strong, just because we are strong people doesn't mean that we should be treated like some sort of animal. Or because even this girl was talking about her sister was on a nursing like an apprenticeship. So she's in on her placement in the hospital now, and then the nurse has said to her, oh, remember, this is only last year, by the way, remember, you need to scrape the needle harder on dark skin because their skin is more dense and harder to penetrate with the needle.
And this is current.
Where's this information?
This is current. And where's the truth
what
in that?
Is that?
So I'm an elephant then, am
This
I?
is what I'm saying. What we have rhinoceros skin. If anything, it's you, the who have rhinoceros skin.
Just plugging in. Where is it?
Oh, it must be done. Oh yeah. Draped on that side. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, it's them who have the rhinoceros skin, mate. Not us. Yeah, if we're really gonna get into the skin feel and the texture, yeah, then if anybody has more dense, tough skin, it's definitely not the darker skinned people. Because what cream are majority of the light skinned
Lord,
people
even that one.
None.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
You go with the other comments because we've got a few, haven't we?
Yeah. So then Trevor has written another comment saying, "You people from Yorkshire speak a different language that is very poor. You speak Yorkshireese, not English."
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's
true though.
Them, not us.
Not us, but it's true though. It's true. Because that's why they have all these strange words for normal words
that don't even
are only spoken inside
in Yorkshire.
Yeah, sarnie for sandwich instead of sandwich, sarnie.
Pop.
Yeah, for the
which is a fizzy drink.
Fizzy drink, yeah, the pop.
A ginnel, which is an alleyway.
Alleyway, yeah. All these little things.
If you want out or now,
yeah.
Anything or nothing.
All words that they make up, and there's even some words that I've heard, and I'm like, even still now, when some people say it, they say, "Oh, have you never heard of that?"
The child's dummy.
Oh,
a doody.
Yeah.
Or when somebody's sick, oh, it's poorly.
Yeah, poorly.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on, but you know.
Trevor has then said, single women or persons of color without a husband, wives that are strong, get mistreated. We must be assertive but peaceful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And they try it on who they know they can. That's the main
exactly
thing.
And this is all part of the so-called what do you call it, the so-called healthcare system. You know? Yeah,
which is very, very, very messed up in the first place. The healthcare system when it comes to people of color. So many young so many, even just last year and the year before, so many young people died in the hands of these so-called healthcare specialists, like what Gerald said about the pregnant women, to the point where they even did a documentary on it last year, because the number of darker skinned people of color women of color who were pregnant and dying at childbirth, dying during childbirth, and being mistreated from the get-go. Yeah, this is like this is how they're treating everybody. This is normal. Women of color are presenting with things that they're telling their midwife, and the midwife is ignoring them. Yeah, and they're just carrying on as normal. This is life in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting.
So Priti Patel has said that we must address the challenge.
Trevor has said,
What's that?
They passed a law this week to break up the NHS. This ICS includes private companies on their board, sellouts.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. That's the obvious intention in the long run.
Yep.
To mash up the NHS, which is why, for instance, if you are, if you take a person like me who's involved in quite a lot of medication and issues with GPs and so forth, when you ask them about certain medication that you have an understanding of, or certain interventions, they rubbish you. And they like to do it on the basis that you're not a GP, you're not a consultant, or things like that. Well, they pick the wrong person when they do that with me. Then they turn and say, "Oh, you read a lot, don't you?" And I just look at them and laugh and say, "Well, yeah, obviously, I do." I said, and just like how you go and study and read up to understand something, so do I. And they're very stuck then, because I've sat there and watched consultants do it. Oh, yes, we need to look up, and they'll take a book and they'll read right in front of my face. They will read the information, or they'll go on the computer and Google it, or look into a certain website. They have some access to some that we don't.
Yeah, of course.
And they will look for the information right there and then. They did not know it, but they studied it to find out. What makes them think that they can study more than I can? And I guarantee you that most of them can't. But at the end of the day, what we have to understand is that they intend for some of you to die. Okay, and again, another story in itself.
Yeah, for real.
Right, but I just thought we'll put it in there because we're talking quite widely, but yet it's still within the same remit from the beginning. They intend for you to die.
Yeah, 100%.
So even when you ask them, what about this particular intervention? There's some things I don't want to talk about right now. Maybe I'll talk about my personal story another time and talk about some things. And I even said to my wife, I wouldn't bother. Because she said, why don't you go and ask and see if you can get it from the NHS? I said, no, because I won't. I will save my money and I will buy it myself, because the NHS will refuse to give it to me, or they'll say we need to do a raft of tests before, and they will doctor the test so that they will not be able to give me what I'm asking them for.
Yep.
And that's what you've got to understand, because it costs what they don't want to pay. And otherwise, what they're saying to you is, if you want it, excuse me, and you understand or know that it's good for you, go private, get your money out, pay for it yourself.
Trevor said they have a huge quota. Georgia Guidestones says from 7 billion down to 0.5 billion. Yeah.
Well, I've got to be diplomatic somewhere, so I'm saying some, because we know that's why there's some things that they'll give you certain pharmaceutical drugs and medicines, knowing there will be side effects, and those side effects will cause you to die more quickly.
Yeah.
Or they will cause them to have to give you other things where they will still continue to make money from you.
Yes, so then you're on more medications, etc., etc.
That's right. We're in that ball game. Then they'll turn around and say to people from the Caribbean and from Africa, "Oh, they're primitive. They don't understand because maybe they're eating more
all this
fresh
rubbish
food. They're eating fresher food. They're eating fresher meat. They are taking herbs which they don't want you to take, because they always like asking, are you on any herbal remedy? And I always tell them no. And
because that's the thing. Oh, everything herbal is holistic medicine, as they call it, and they've already made it a point of saying holistic medicine is rubbish. That's what they're saying. Without saying it, that's what they're saying. It's rubbish. Don't do it. Don't go there.
take pharmaceutical.
Just stick on the science
and die faster.
Yeah, and die faster. Yeah, take this drug from us that will stop your sleep apnea, but will also cause you to have migraines every single day. So then you'll then need to take another one for the migraines, which will then cause you to then have something else, which you then need to take something else for that one as well. And the cycle goes on and on and on and on. Meanwhile, they're not really helping you. They're just drugging you and shutting you down and shutting you up. We've given you the things, and if it's not working for you, there's nothing we can do. And that's what they'll tell you.
And making sure that you are not able to function
Yeah.
at a reasonable capacity and level, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%.
And even the things that you should eat and drink that will help you to function better, they will try to tell you that you shouldn't have them. and these are the type of conversations that then others will say, well, if you want it to be different, why are you here? Go back where you came from.
Yeah, that's exactly. And that's the thing. If you said, oh, well,
go and get them from your
India,
country.
There's herbs that I can use, and I've seen studies that show they'll say, oh, well, go to India then. Order from India to get your medication. You know what I mean? They'll tell you. They're not interested.
Well, I order some of my medicine from India, so thank you very much.
Yes, exactly.
My herbal remedies. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you how they come. That's my secret. But they originate in India.
Yeah.
And they come via other means, but they get here.
Yeah.
I can't let you have my secrets. but they come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not all pharmaceutical.
Yeah. What Trevor said here is correct. He said the meds is designed for them, not us. Holistic medication are based on our traditional herbal medication. We don't want any knock-on probably from their medication.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%, Trevor.
So, Priti Patel says illegal immigration. This is what she says we want to tackle, right? And it's facilitated by serious organized criminals exploiting people and profiting from human misery. And then goes on about things like this boat that sank in the channel. It sunk because they wanted it to, not because it had to.
They could have got them all and put them in their detention centers that they love so much. Why didn't they?
So then they say, if you illegally enter the UK via a safe country in which you could have claimed asylum, you are not seeking refuge from imminent peril, as is the intended purpose of the asylum system, but are picking the UK as a preferred destination over others. Well, we spoke about that a little bit already, didn't we? That there are people who are picking the UK as a preferred destination on purpose. But that's because they know that staying in France, for instance, is even more caustic than coming here to the UK.
Yeah.
But the whole thing between France and the UK is just contrived because they know that the French will allow them to come out of France and they won't stop them because they want them to drown in the sea,
or to not be their
problem, or to just not be the problem of France. And if the British then want to turf them back out, France will refuse to accept them.
Yeah.
So they know. And then where will they go then? Back into the water and die.
Or back to their country where they were going to die anyway. Gerald has said, I believe that somewhere in the Bible, I stand to be corrected, it says, take unto thyself what is needed. And Trevor has replied with some emojis.
Which I can't tell.
Which are like one that's like a quizzitive one.
Okay,
another
so
one he's not saying nothing.
He's not sure where it is.
Yeah, he's
I kind of know what Gerald's saying, but I'm not sure what
exactly where.
Yeah. but I mean, in terms of how we should be looking after ourselves, well, yeah, the system is not designed to look after you.
Not at all.
So let's not look there.
Yeah, it's
You
not.
know, that's the best way I can put it in simple terms. So what's this? You know, obviously this is a bit deep, and like I said, we're not going to go much longer. Look where we are already.
Oof, yeah. Time clicked on, isn't it? What are you talking about?
Did you not switch on the plug? Yeah, you didn't. There you go. So they're saying that there are, you know, these routes are what they want to stop. So they say. And then they've gone. Then she talks about the court system. So she's got three major objectives. Let's move down to this, because, like I said, we're gonna have to do part 2 on this anyway.
Yeah.
So the first objective that the government has is to increase the fairness and the efficacy of our system, so that we can better protect and support those in genuine need of asylum. Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly are you saying? You want to better protect them and support them by putting them in detention centers?
Yeah. By flinging them in there indefinitely.
Right? Because that's what the new system gives them the power to do. To put them, yes, Trevor, fairness, exactly, ha.
Yeah.
Put them into a detention center and just say, stay there.
Yeah.
We'll deal with your case. And also, I mean, I'm gonna put some meat to the bones of this anyway, but it'll be next week now, I think. To say such things as you have no right of appeal.
Yeah.
So we've decided you must go home. You can't appeal it, and we won't give you time to appeal. So we'll just deport you when we're ready, and in the meantime, we will detain you somewhere where you won't have access to any legal counsel. So you must just go.
Yeah. Nobody to talk to. No family contact. No friends contact. Nothing. You're just flung in the place, and it's like a prison. And indefinitely. It could be 2 months for your case to be seen. Could be 2 years. Could be 12 years. Yeah, as long as they feel like leaving you in there is what they do.
So their second objective is to deter. Second objective is to deter illegal entry into the UK, thereby breaking the business model of people smuggling networks and protecting the lives of those they endanger. We were going to talk about these next week because there's some detail that needs to be put to these to prove that a lot of what this girl, Priti Patel, is saying is complete, total, and absolute lies. It is just hogwash.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're smuggling people into the UK and they try to put it under pressure, they will smuggle more. They won't smuggle less.
No.
They'll smuggle more.
Yeah. They'll go harder.
This dog looks like he's looking for something.
I know.
You know, because last time he did. So let me read the third one, and then we're going to leave it there because we're going to come back to this next week. So we'll just come back with the same thing, part 2 next week.
Yeah.
So the third objective of the government is to remove more easily from the UK those with no right to be here. So those are their 3 objectives. I'm going to leave it there, right? But here's the thing. Even that last one is extremely emotive.
Yeah.
Because the question of who has a right to be here and who doesn't is all contrived.
Yeah.
So you've got even British-born people who were born here, but their bloodline, as they call it, is not from here. They're deporting them.
Yeah. Their parents are both from another country, so they're, even though they are born here in a hospital here, go to school here, they don't have the right to have a British passport. What rubbish is that?
And so they've deported a person like that from here because, as far as they're concerned, he doesn't have a right to be here.
So choose
Because
the mum or the dad's
Your
country.
mum or your dad is a Jamaican.
Yeah.
So go.
Go
You see,
somewhere else.
We're going to talk more about that, but these are the kind of things. Or you don't have the right to stay here because you committed a crime, and we don't like the crime that you committed, so we will deport you.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
You know, and that's a good enough reason why you no longer have a right to be here.
Even if you committed that crime at 13
and have
and
turned
you're
your
now
life
50.
around, and you're now helping you're paying your taxes, you're paying your national insurance, you're helping other people to get into jobs,
Yeah.
you're being a productive member of society. We don't care because your skin color is wrong.
Yep. And so we're going to use that against you.
And the person who's writing these measures into law has got the same skin color as the people she's deported.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
The comments say, so what were the 3 reasons people choose the UK? That's what Trevor said. Gerald said, I did see where it said if you say you are 15 years old, they treat you differently. Yes, I've heard about that as well. That's why a lot of people that are actually like about 30 are there, yeah, I'm 15. Then they can't find them again when they let them out.
Yeah. Well, they said that's one of the things. That's one of the things that they said they're closing the loophole on. The age issue.
And then Gerald has said it has got worse since Brexit. Look at that ISIS bride, Shamima. He's put Sharma, but I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer that. Then Trevor's question about what are the 3? Did I not say, or did I mention? How many did I mention of the reasons for coming here?
I think maybe 2. Maybe 2 then. What
did I say? One of them is simply because this is payback.
Yeah, for what for what they did.
It's retribution. They're coming back here because they're coming back to the motherland.
Yeah.
Because you chose to be the mother of everywhere.
He said you said 1. Okay, 1. So that.
So is that the one I said?
The one you must have said.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Then so that's the one. That's one reason that I believe everybody understands that one very well.
Retribution.
That it's retribution. They're coming back here because they're coming back to reap, and they're reaping what they sowed. The second reason, which is more difficult for people to accept, especially when we're talking about people of color, why they would come here, is because if you go back historically, and I'm talking way back to the beginning of the history of man, the first people to step their foot on European soil, the first people to step their foot on the United Kingdom of Great Britain were people who looked like me. My color, my hairstyle, maybe he had a bit longer hair at that time than mine, but they looked like me. So they're coming home.
Yeah.
Because go on.
Even if they don't know it directly, but their blood knows it, and they know why they're drawn to this country. You know what I mean? Their body and their bloodline is drawn to the country for a reason. And that's why they're coming back, because just like Dad said, they're coming home. They're not going to a foreign place.
That's right.
Yeah, as the British and the white skinned people want you to believe.
No, because not all places are the same. Because they're not really rushing to go to Lapland. They're not really rushing to go to them, those up there places.
Oh, the North Pole and
Finland and so on.
Or lack of hairstyle.
Yeah, shut up, Trevor.
He thinks it's lit.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not rushing there.
No, they're not.
So they and if you tell this to the average indigenous British person, they're not going to understand, because they think that Britain means white.
Yes.
You're wrong. Because the origination of it is not white.
No.
They think Ireland means white. You're wrong. The origination of it is not white.
Yeah.
Right? So these are the reasons why you've got this immigration going on the way that it's going. You
They
see?
can't allow us to take over in their mind. You know what I mean? He said there. Carcass caveman lands. Yeah, they can't allow us to take over, innit?
No,
That's why they have to
no.
make sure to keep the numbers
To keep
lower.
to keep the numbers down.
Yeah, because lots of us are being born here now, of course. And if our parents have already got the British passport, then of course they've already got the British passport and they're born here. They have residency. They live here. This is their country.
And
Yeah?
the third and last reason, which is also a not very good reason, is that Britain is stupid. let's just put it how it is. That the the British government think that they're clever, and there's a saying in Jamaica. I don't know about other Caribbean islands. You play fool till you're ton wise.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. And they
playing fool. Sorry, playing fool to catch wise.
Yeah.
They are idiots.
Yep. And
because that's what they think
geniuses.
they're doing. They think they're playing fool to catch wise, but it's not. That's not how it's working. Because the problem is that they seem to forget that when they go into certain other European countries, they can't even get bread to eat.
Yeah.
Right? But they come into Britain and you've got organizations, and I'll happily be one of them, by the way. If the government will give me the money, I will house asylum seekers and refugees. Yes, I will. So, this is my point, that the government in the United Kingdom will give money and grants, right? And give them to companies to house asylum seekers and so forth, and they will give them weekly money. Go into some of the other countries and you'll be yamming dust.
Yeah. Trevor said, what happened to the aspiration for a better life, such education and circumstances?
Oh yes, well, they're not coming here for that.
No.
They're just coming here for the little peanuts that they're getting. You see, and that's what the problem is, because it's a mindset, a mentality that they think, this it's better than what, but it isn't even better because it's got no. Hold on, Tamar. Yeah. It's got no way out.
Yeah.
It stops there, and that's the that's the start and the finish of it. That one line.
He said cynical, John.
Am I?
No, but I agree, because really and truly, the people that are coming here for a better life, education, etc., they are not the ones that are going to be involved in these immigration detention centers and all these sorts of things. More than likely, those people have already, when it's like they work with the country, so they're what they call them. I'm getting tongue tied now. What's the word? International students.
Oh yeah.
So they come here and but it's not for free. That's what people are not
for free.
For us, it's for free to go to college and high school.
Yeah, for them it's
and
not
primary
free.
school.
They
For
pay.
them, even high school, college pay. They must pay the schools.
That's right.
So they're not even getting a better thing. They're not getting a better deal or better circumstances. When either way, they must pay.
Because they have to pay.
Yeah.
And that's another form of rape. Because they look at where they're coming from and say, okay, you African, for instance, and it is mainly, sorry, but African, you Indian.
Yeah.
You want to come here and you want to study and you want a degree from the United Kingdom, you pay thousands upon thousands of pounds for it.
Far more than any British
and that's
person.
it. And then Trevor, I'm talking about the other immigration, which I'm going to go into in more detail in part 2.
Yeah.
The Eastern Europeans and the Syrians and the Afghanistans and all of them who are just coming here to eat.
Yeah.
For free. Get on the benefits.
Yeah.
Get a house. Get housed for a while and then get a house of their own. And I'm going to say it again because I'm serious. The government are give out grants to organizations to house refugees and asylum seekers. I'm in it. I'm going to house them and get the government's money. Yes, I'm going to. Why not?
Yeah.
So we're coming back again next week with part 2.
Yeah.
Those who stayed with us, God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was actually really excellent.
Yeah.
And
nice to have comments.
We've got a lot more to cover, but it was nice for the interaction. Good flow. Thanks a lot. and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. This dog is something else.
Zeus, outside.